I remember one time, it probably still stick with me for a long time. My son very poignantly said, like, "Why are you leaving?" In the morning.
Right.
And I was like, "Well, do you see these lights? Do you see this food? Do you see
Yeah.
So kind of had to have that conversation.
Yeah. General contracting is like a license to steal. I don't really agree with that right now. I don't know why he said that. Probably because he's a broker and he's like, how's your morning going?
Oh man, it's great because I'm here with you.
Hey, same here, man. So what time is it right now? Like, how long do we spend on pre-production?
We won't talk about that. We won't talk about that.
Okay, all right, sounds good.
What we can mention is that the podcast is developing.
Yeah,
we're ironing out a good amount of it, and it's getting better and better.
I agree. I think we definitely did a better job on preparation. We'll find out how well that pays out. Stay tuned. We've got to get up to speed on producing and then getting these things on the internet, though. That's for sure.
Yes, absolutely. It can become its own production.
Yeah.
From obviously the recording, creating the outline, then post-production.
Yep.
Who's putting it on?
And then posting.
Yes.
We got to get the stuff on the internet. That's what we're making these for. With that being said, dude, anything new happened in your life that isn't on our list here? But anything special?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be a little personal. I was able to go to Legoland with my son.
Oh, that's awesome.
Last Friday.
Okay.
And that was a fun time.
Do you talk about real estate with your kids?
Just a little bit. He's like, "Why are you going to this house?" I was like, I'm helping show. I don't know. I try to explain a little bit to him. And I remember one time, it probably still stick with me for a long time. My son very poignantly said, like, "Why are you leaving?" In the morning.
Right.
And I was like, "Well, do you see these lights? Do you see this food? Do you see
Yeah."
So kind of had to have that conversation.
Yeah. How do you feel about air conditioning?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like everything you have. It's like the Lion King. Everything you have. Because
yeah. Nice.
So yeah, that's
cool.
I think probably more so why I work with business, that sort of thing.
Right.
And probably as he gets older, definitely have more of that conversation about real estate, about business, that sort of thing.
You think you'll pass on the family business to him? You think he'll go up and be, do the same thing you do?
I mean, from the investing standpoint, the houses, yes, but I mean, there's no exit strategy for real estate agents.
Right. I mean, it's buying houses and becoming landlords, isn't it? I mean, isn't that what most of them do?
Well, yeah, like I could. The goal is to build out the property portfolio, and yes, that'll be something I can pass on,
sure,
or sell it and then pass on the funds or whatever happens.
Right.
However, it's always funny. I would probably never read a book that says like have your exit strategy in mind.
Right.
Because at best, you can kind of sell a book of business, but
sure,
like the valuations on that. Like I know someone who did buy someone's book of business, and she was able to onboard a bunch of listings, some agents and the like, and I think she bought it for like $50,000, $60,000, which is still not nothing. But I'm like, you just spent 30 years on something,
right?
So,
and she sold it for what? Did you say how much?
I think it would end up being like $50,000, $60,000.
Yeah, well, shoot, man. I think the portfolio is the way to go. If we're going to retire, and that's what we need to have. What's your goal? How many houses do you think you want to have before you can comfortably retire?
I mean, I will never officially retire.
Sure.
I think it would be easier to. It's hard. It's a hard question to ask.
Yeah.
I don't think I've dove into that exactly how many need, because it also depends on if they're leveraged or not.
Right. Like if you own them free or clear.
Yeah. I mean, probably anybody would say like once you got 20,000 rolling in each month, it'd be pretty good.
Good enough.
Which that is about 20 doors not leveraged. But if you have leverage on them, if you have a mortgage on all of them and your cash flows,
40, 50 of them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, all right, we'll say 50. I'll just throw a number out there. What about you? I mean, what about you?
I mean, I hope I can get 50 by the time I'm there, or get 20 free and clear by the time I can't work anymore, by the time I can't pick up the phone or hire people. Yeah,
Dude,
hopefully.
What do you mean you can't pick up a phone? Your grandson's going to want to talk to grandpa. Like, you pick up the phone.
I'm saying, yeah, I hope to have that portfolio sorted before I can't pick up the phone anymore.
Yeah, keep grinding. I mean, or maybe that's why people like the apartment spaces.
Right.
Buy one multifamily, you got 25 doors.
Mm-hmm.
The cost or if you build it, is much more reduced.
Yeah, 1031. That's probably the move. Get about a portfolio of about 20 and then 1031 into some
giant apartment complex.
Big apartment complex, yeah.
the way to manage that is much easier when you're talking like
Sure, it's one place.
1 or 2 different configurations, a property manager on site.
Right.
Like everything's there.
Yep.
Maybe I'll just move into one of them. I'll just be my own property manager.
Might be. Just don't tell anybody though. I mean, you just move in. Otherwise
Yeah, I'm not the owner.
Yeah.
I'm just the old ragged guy that's the property manager.
Or, yeah, you'll be making friends with people. And, yeah, no way.
I guess honestly, to answer that question, it has to do like when I feel comfortable enough to do that on a regular basis. Part of that's mentality, right? Like
Right.
Of allowing yourself to gauge where you're at, like allow yourself to enjoy, but some of that's just also like having consistent amount of income.
Right.
Because I mean, do you have residuals like coming in? Do you have some book deals I don't know about?
No, not yet. We're working on it.
Hey,
But,
working on it, right?
Yeah.
So
Maybe by the end of this. Who knows? We'll see.
yeah, exactly. We're working on it, and to get there, ultimately to be able to say yes on a Friday, or to live outside the framework of it's having that consistent passive residual income.
Yep. Yeah, well, that's what I'm working towards too.
This is a nice boat. You could have a boat down here too. Southwest Florida is awaiting. You know that you love the sunny weather. You know you don't want to deal with the winters anymore. Come down. Enjoy the beautiful waters. Enjoy the amazing boat life. My name is Benjamin Medina. I can help you with all the recreation needs and desires that you have down here in sunny Southwest Florida. Give me a call at 239-990-5795 or benjaminmedina.com. Any highlights, any closings or new listings you have going on recently?
Yeah, a couple closings. So that's exciting. I should say a couple properties under contract. We're expecting closings here coming up for a property that I located in Pomona Park. We can talk more about that later, but I found a nice little investor deal. Got to use my subs and labor business to get the property cleaned out. Got it assigned to an end buyer investor.
Yeah.
And so that worked out pretty great.
How did you found a new sub guy or the person who cleared that out was fairly new to your business, right?
Yeah, definitely.
How did that work out?
So I met him at a networking event. This guy's probably 17 something years old, and he's looking for experience in real estate. He sending me videos about wholesaling and so on, and he's like, "Hey, what do you think about this guy?" And I'm like, if he wants $500 to give you his, wholesaling contract, like, don't do it. Don't listen to gurus.
And it's not a good contract.
So we'd been talking for a while, and he said he was looking for some work. He's saving up so he can buy a car, get insurance, and so on. And so he's been putting some signs out for me. And I said, well, we're cleaning out this house. If you want, find a guy, find a buddy of yours that wants to just do some real estate clean out. Yeah. And so he showed up, worked for 2 days. They did a pretty good job. Got everything cleaned out.
2 days to clear this thing out?
Yeah, took 2 days.
Ooh,
yeah,
how many
a lot of crap.
Did you do a dump trailer? Or?
We rented a truck from Home Depot. Just got a box truck. Okay. And we didn't even get all of it done because I ended up getting it assigned the day we were wrapping up. So
you just left it like that.
I just was like, well, I guess the investor wants it. So
how many trucks? I mean, so that was Fort Myers. You had to drive all the way to Lehigh to dump?
No, we actually went to, there's a dump in Charlotte County dump on 41 off of Zumwell Road. It was about 8 to 10 minutes or something away from the house.
Yeah. You just committed a crime, sir.
I don't know about a crime. How would that be a crime? Well, because I told him I was from Lee County. I said North Fort Myers.
Yeah.
So you're saying what?
Apparently, I've done some demo work in Charlotte County.
Okay, right.
Or I may not have.
Sure.
We're supposed to dump where you
in the county where it's from.
Take care. But like cross bounds, like dumping is like a thing.
Gotcha. I know Charlotte County doesn't really care about it. When we had a flip in Suncoast, we did one of our first flips was actually in Suncoast, and we can talk more about flips later. But we did all of our dumps at Charlotte County.
It's probably not I don't think it's a county thing. It's more much as like an interesting Florida law. I know because my investment partner hates the Charlotte County dump because it's all the way up there, and you're like literally driving on trash. And he's like, I hate it because it's just
I always get the insurance. We rented the truck. I just always get the insurance on it.
Yeah.
It's like $12, but it means if a tire pops, I don't have to.
Yeah. Well, what is a guy with the truck doing renting out a truck? Like when do you get a dump trailer or something?
A dump trailer? I do need to probably buy one of those because the amount of money I've spent on renting trucks from Home Depot for the little subs and labor business.
Yeah. Like what does it run a day? Like $200?
If you do it in 4 hours, it's 111. If you do it for a full day, it's like 140, 150.
Yeah, man, you could. That's some payments on a nice dump trailer.
Yeah, I could be charging that to the company for sure. Yes. I could buy a box truck and 100% be doing it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's in the books.
Not even a box truck, but like a dump trailer. I mean, or do you not like trailers? Do you know how to operate a trailer?
I got a CDL. I've got a
God, man.
Yeah, I could definitely do it. But I don't know if I'd want to have a dump trailer necessarily. I think a big box truck is just versatile. You can do whatever you want with it. Like if I had a big box truck, I could throw trash in it.
But the cost is much different than a trailer.
Than a dump trailer?
Yeah, because you have a truck already you could use.
Yeah.
You could just get the trailer at, maybe you buy it used for like 10 grand, and then now you can just take a shit to your truck.
Yeah,
as
I
opposed
do
to a
have a
box
trailer.
truck.
I do have a small trailer that I store tools and stuff in. It's just really small. It's like a 6.
It'd be like an open trailer, dump trailer. Hydraulic.
Mm-hmm.
Dump out. Otherwise, now you're paying insurance and
The
gas.
only thing I'd say is I would not be pulling that in the truck that I've got. I've got a tiny Nissan Frontier.
Truck.
I would not be pulling a trailer on it. On a lease
I think you're probably got like 7,000 pounds on that thing.
Yeah,
so.
I just don't want to wreck the transmission on it. So I'm okay with the box truck. Those things work fine.
Yeah.
We'll see. I haven't really priced anything out yet. I'm leaning towards a box truck because I can, do whatever I want with it.
Yeah. Do you put decals on it?
In Cape Coral, you can't really do any kind of commercial decal stuff. So like if you wanted to wrap a truck in Cape Coral, they'd shut you down. You can't have a wrapped truck in Cape Coral, dude.
Why?
That's a good question. Why don't you take it up with the county? I got.
Are we going to bring Cape Coral up on this again? Like, geez, Louise.
We don't have to.
Is this podcast turning into identify weird Cape Coral laws?
So I'm really comfortable with Cape Coral. My wife is really comfortable too. We're actually going to move here recently, probably to upsize because we've got a new baby, and I need an office.
A new one to pick him up at the store?
Yeah, we put him at the baby store. And so we're planning to upsize probably in the next few months. And we're staying in Cape. I really like Cape. We were looking in Lehigh. And during the course of us doing a little home search, people are saying, I really don't want to knock Lehigh too much, but they're saying that they have to keep everything locked up. They've got to have cameras. People are, stealing stuff. And I haven't had any problems with that in Cape Coral, at least where I'm living.
Yeah.
So far, yeah, we're leaning towards Cape.
Okay.
And we did think about Lehigh too, because if it's cheaper and being that I'm always looking for workers, Lehigh may be a little bit more working class. I think there's a lot of retirees in Cape.
Yeah.
I'm not hiring to go, take a trench. So.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, it's not that hard finding them, and we're happy with that.
So back in track, I know that they can be kind of weird on work trucks in general.
Mm-hmm.
So they're fine with a work truck as long as it doesn't have decals.
Yeah, you can't have like a commercial vehicle, basically, is what they're not going to let you do, parked in a residential
So a box
neighborhood.
truck that doesn't have decals is not commercial now.
Yeah, if it didn't have decals on it, they're okay with it. But if you wrap it, yeah, for sure, they're shutting you down. You can have a car magnet, but you got to take it off. I mean, it's what people,
Yeah.
you got to have cranky neighbors.
Shut up, cranky neighbors. Yeah, be mindful of that.
Yeah.
When you're looking for your place, knock.
Watch out. Yeah, exactly. I got to look if I see another trailer like next door.
Yeah,
okay, that's probably going to be fine. Because I'm gonna need. It's in good shape. It's not like it's falling apart. Like it's a decent trailer.
Yeah.
But I need to keep it. Close by.
I always want to have decals or at least a magnet on my vehicle whenever I get started on a flip or.
Have you got one
whatever.
on your car right now?
I don't because it didn't make sense. Because a lot of times when you get into flips, like it's the permitting process.
Right.
Right. You're not trying to put a red flag.
Sure.
On like, hey, I'm doing work inside this house.
Sure, yeah.
So like that's what one philosophy is. So like any gain you would have on like saying this is what I'm doing,
right?
It's mitigated. Now with you, like fairly generally coming in, you're working with the GC, you're working, everything like very above board.
Everything is permanent.
And it's not to say I'm doing anything wrong or that when you're putting up new drywall and doing new paint or like putting up new tile, like you're not really looking to.
You don't need a permit.
You don't need a permit. Anyway, but like some code enforcement guy, like,
what's going on here?
Yeah, what's going on?
The red
stick their nose, like it's just they're trying to avoid that a little bit
for sure.
But I also feel like the realtor ones are very tacky. I'm like, oh, man, it'd be nice, but like, what if I flick someone off?
Have you ever got a?
I don't do that.
So you've had magnets in the past, though?
No, I always think like I want one because it's marketing, it's advertising.
I had one and it flew off of my car for I don't know why that's a thing. They just blow off randomly. Yeah.
You got to put it on the. But you have a truck. Put it on the back of your truck. It's not flying off on the tail.
That's a good point. It won't fly off on the tail.
Yeah, that's better anyways because when you're parked and someone's looking,
right?
That's what you got to do.
You don't want it right underneath and then like you're at the stop sign, and then they look at the magnet, and then you look over at them, and you make eye contact, and
No,
you go
because
straight to
maybe
the
on
house.
the tail they're like, oh yeah, I'll meet with your home buyers, but on the side they're like, oh, who's this guy? I don't want to sell my house to.
You don't want to just like slow motion, kind of have the music cue, music
Sell me your
plays.
house.
Hey.
Yeah, I mean, you would do that. I mean, go for it. Maybe do it all the way around.
You just like point at the sign.
Sure, Colby, let me know how that works out. I mean, meanwhile, there's a broker here in Cape Coral, and he did like the whole wrap and like
right.
It's got his face on the front of the hood, because every realtor's their whole branding is himself, right?
Right.
So I was like, dang, dude, and it's like blue and pink and all this sort of stuff, and that's a car. Like,
Maybe it's working for him. Branding. I mean,
yeah, I think I did ask him about it. He's like, I think he maybe actually got a deal out of it, so maybe it's worth it.
Huh. One deal, I guess it pays for it.
Yeah.
I did see, and then we can move on to actually talking about what we came here to talk about here today. But Denzel Washington was like, he doesn't go on social media. He doesn't go on and like make reels and stories and like post videos of his opinions and stuff like that. And he says part of it is because, he's a celebrity, and the reason why people go to the movies is because they can't see him every day. So if you're going out there and you're kind of just like putting your face out everywhere, which we're kind of doing with the podcast, we'll see how that goes. But you want to be kind of exclusive in some sense with the who gets to see you and when. Whereas if it's just free, I guess we're not movie stars, so it's a little bit.
I'm trying to. Denzel can do that because he's Denzel. Like,
yeah, because he's.
I want everyone to see my face because they don't know who the heck I am.
Right. Yeah, I think you're right.
I will say where I need to get some new signs. It's just having more listings and run out of signs. Sure. And I don't want to put my picture on the sign this time.
Oh, interesting. I've never had my picture on my sign.
Yeah, I think actually like agents always default to that, and from a branding perspective, with the signs that I notice the most, one, because they can be around the area a lot. Sure. But it's just the ones that are just the name. Because when it's your face, and I'm actually like, no, like when it's your face, I feel like you just look at the face and you don't know anything else. Right. But in a sea of faces, like how am I going to remember this person for me or Emacs? Like, I don't know. Just the next one I'm going to be is just going to be my name, like whatever. I just be more general. No pictures. Right. So you get more to like either seeing the phone number, seeing the name, seeing the brand. Like that's what I'm going to do next.
I think it's a good move.
Yeah.
It's going to work.
Cool. But something that we did recently was the SBDC public speaking event. Yep. And go ahead.
I was going to say I had a good time, but I am looking to get some feedback because you attended. This was your first time going. Yes. We had the discussion was kind of about elevator pitches and business presentations, essentially. And, I had fun, but I'm also looking to provide value. So one thing I'm kind of concerned with these events is, are we actually providing value to these attendees? So, I'd love to hear what you thought about the whole.
Yeah, going into it, thinking it was more your role, I think there's more the expectation of you perhaps being the speaker. I think if I had my expectation on the pedestal, it fell flat. Sure. But understanding like the clarity of like, oh no, this is a joint thing. Right. So shout out to Stormy for like running it. And so going into it next time of like, okay, this is a co-host kind of thing. Right. Cool. Like I think it was great and that's the standpoint. It didn't fall flat. Right. I thought it was a great event. Okay. I can actually show you. I have like a page and a half of notes that I took away from it. Right. And I always steer away from like the topic was like, value propositions, what's your elevator pitch? Right. That kind of conversation. And I tend to steer away from it, but I think given that she had a worksheet there, being even more clear on it, because I think every time when like, how can we be more clear on the story we're trying to sell, the market that we're trying to gravitate towards. So, she kept pushing fruit on me, and that wasn't cool. But
yeah. You're a veggie kind of a guy.
Oh no, it was just funny because she was like, "Everyone eat." I'm like, "I already ate." Like, okay.
Yeah, we haven't had too many takers on the food. Like we had beer the first time too.
Oh snap!
Nobody drank a single beer.
Yeah,
it was weird. So I feel like it feels like school kind of a little bit in that building for some reason, and that is kind of the format. And it wasn't as much when we were at a bar. Like it was a lot more casual.
Yes.
But
that's what I did like about it because, in fact, I was thinking about maybe there's an opportunity for that. So like I'm part of the South Florida Business Alliance. And there's just a network of business owners, right? And
Sure.
they also have an affiliate group that's the custom home builders. And the point is, it can very much just be directly networking and just conversating, and that's fine. Sometimes I wish we have an opportunity to pitch a little bit more, or even just get like, what are people learning? What are people talking about? Like, I just feel like there's just so many people there. Sometimes you're getting to learn about them. I love those kind of like the SBDC thing. Like,
Sure.
Let's just learn something. Let's talk about public speaking. Let's talk about value propositions, or at least bringing clarity to how we're pitching to investors or folks. So, I'm always looking to learn, and I've found great value in that.
Awesome. Well, that's great to hear, man. I appreciate that. That's awesome.
Keep it going for sure.
Okay. Well, we will. We're at least booked through the end of the year. We're going to keep doing these things, so that means at least, what is it? September, October. So at least 3 more meetings.
Yes.
Maybe 4.
If anything, some tea would be nice. Like, I don't want to drink coffee. No, like hot tea.
Oh, hot tea, dude.
Yeah. Well, because like I can only order like decaf coffee.
Okay.
That'd be pretty nice. Like, you're talking like no one drank the beer, but like, if you get some, some people might actually drink coffee that late at night.
Sure, yeah.
Personally, I'll just have like a green tea or something.
Interesting.
That's pretty cool.
That's interesting.
You had the Keurig. That's like a low key kind of thing. But
we're looking to. That's a good idea. If we did set up a Keurig and then we said, hey, we got food and snacks and Keurig if you want some coffee.
Yeah, I will say for all your feelings about it, like, that was a packed room.
Yeah,
if we had any more people, like, it would be.
And actually, Stormy did a lot of, or SBDC has a lot of marketing infrastructure, that gets the word out. So we only had, I only brought 2 people this time. It was you and Ian were the only 2 people that showed up. We were pretty even last month. It was like 5 and 5 or 5 and 6 or something.
So she did all the legwork.
I like to think of myself as a visionary, So
we all should be, right?
Yeah. No, she did great. Definitely getting the word out. She doesn't have to do much either, though. She plugs it into the SBDC, puts the thing together, which I helped her, craft, hey, what are we going to talk about? We took the topics together. And then she has to put together a presentation. I don't know if it needs to be 30 minutes long, her initial lecture. And that was some of the feedback. I haven't talked to her about it yet, but that was some of the feedback we got. And she's read too, is that the lecture was too long. I think it would have been more valuable if she'd shortened it to about a 10 to 20 minute lecture, and then had more time for the audience to get up and, try it, I don't know if you agree with that.
A good 10 minutes of that was just talking about the SBDC. So I think you naturally have to cut that out, which I'm sure she's not willing to do.
Right.
So that, I don't know, maybe give an informational about what the SBDC is, and then just get hard into a lecture, maybe. The good point about this is, I didn't even think about it until you said it. Majority of those people were from her, and she's already coaching. So they all know about the SBDC.
Right.
So the only person that didn't was probably me.
Right.
And so, do we need to spend 10, 15 minutes just talking about, which I was on
what it is? Well, they didn't, I think only 1 or 2 of them had a consult at that point, had a business consultant. So these were all people who were interested. They were on the mailing list for whatever reason and hadn't pulled the trigger on getting a business consultant yet, which is what they do. It's free business consulting.
Yeah. Can I just say that the SBDC, the how many are in Florida is pretty astounding.
Yeah.
And I think every business owner needs to be aware of the coaching that's available, the resources, in addition to SCORE, for example. It's just great. And how many people don't know about it, right? So that you have free mentors, free coaches. Like, I have one with SCORE, for example.
Yeah.
And she's amazing. She's willing to meet with me 2 times a month for an hour of her time, which is very valuable, very valuable. And just,
do you talk about this at your SCORE meetings?
The podcast?
Yeah.
I did last time.
Okay. And what she said?
She does 2 podcasts.
Oh, wow.
And when we first started connecting, I was also dealing with some other things restructure-wise. And so we had a good topic of conversation about things I probably should be focusing on.
Gotcha.
Like, oh, man, I guess someone's saying you want to do podcasts. Like, I don't know, maybe we focus on your other things.
Right. Is what she said.
Yes. But then when I came to her, I said I didn't listen to her. I just did the podcast. She commended me for it. She's like, no, that's great. That's every business owner. It's like, at the end of the day, take in a little bit, but do your own thing. So I took action ultimately. There was a slight little appreciation for.
The plus is that we're really not spending that much time on this so far. If today, we're going to probably, at least a half a day we're going to spend on this for sure today. So that is, maybe 6 hours of our day that we could spend prospecting, but
I think it's a good use of our time for sure. It's giving experience in content creation. It's giving experience in. I think we've also refined a little more the rehab agent, for example.
Right. Yep.
Like just it's helped all the way around. And so she definitely committed. It was good.
Awesome. General contractors, are you in need of labor and subcontractors for your high-end construction remodels? Here at Subs and Labor LLC, we specialize in site maintenance, site cleanup, trash disposal, construction cleanup, demolition, insulation. If it's general labor, we can do it at a moment's notice. Call us today. Subs and Labor LLC, the better labor broker. Phone number 239-426-7084.
As a subs coordinator or home repair person, do you begin to notice those imperfections, like of other people's work? Like how much experience do you have to be looking at these things?
Gotcha. You mean other people's work? Okay, so I really don't pay that much attention to it. I mean, I can see it now. Like, I mean, I don't look for it. If that's your question, no, because I mean, I don't really care. Like, if your office has its baseboard's 100% caulked. Like I can see there's a little bit of caulk missing between the tile and the baseboard, but that doesn't bother me or affect me at all. Quality control from my own perspective, now having to actually...
people are paying you.
Yeah, I have to actually turn work over to a client. Yeah, I'm definitely a little bit more. My quality control has definitely improved, I would say, in terms of production.
So I think the question is like twofold of, how much are you noticing your car? Like that's whatever paradox that is, like, and how much are you just being able to know what to look for? For example, for context of the listeners, is that you showed me a bathroom that one of your subs put in some handles.
Right.
And I was looking at it, and now that you've identified it, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Like the handles were, way too big. They should have been right down the middle.
Right.
Like no go. But the first minute you're like, oh no, you don't see it. I'm like, no, I don't see it. What am I looking at?
Right.
So that is clearly just a time thing. Like how long did it take you to kind of...
If you're working in Naples, it's a lot different than if you're working in, some investor flip remodel, basically. Yeah. If this has already been purchased by the investor, because we have one of these coming up, and they want to spend as little as possible and get the thing functional and rented.
Yeah.
They're not that concerned with the quality of the production as much as they are with, hey, let's make sure we keep this under budget, get this done quickly, and then get a tenant in there as fast as possible. That's all they really care about. If it looks good in photos, that's about the only thing that matters, and it doesn't smell. It
doesn't smell,
So when you're in Naples, though, I do a lot of those for Volks Construction, when working on some of their contracts in there. Their cost plus, essentially, is the way they do all of their contracts. So that means essentially they're not working off of a budget per se. They have a rough idea it's going to be between this price and this price, but it's a little bit more custom. It's like it gives a little bit more control over the project to the client. And so that means that you're going to have some changes. You're going to have a designer that's going to come in and help pick things. And like there's a lot of variables, a lot of different things that are going to change the end result of the price. And when you're doing a project like that, you've got to give the client what they want, or what are you even there for?
I think that's that situation right there, or that fact is probably a good reminder for folks that do their own rehab jobs, right? Like don't start a contracting business thinking that you can replace paint and do drywall. Like, someone can come in and rehab a home and think they're ready to start a contracting gig.
Right.
But that right there, with respect to like, you start working in a Naples market, or really just working for someone, not yourself,
right,
or another investor, the standards go way up.
Definitely.
Because what happened with that handle? I didn't get an update on that.
Yeah, so sadly, and this was a friend of mine, so I'm really disappointed that this worked out, but I gave him this job. I think he ended up probably underbidding this job, but he didn't have a whole lot of experience doing cabinets and high-end finish work.
Okay.
And so at any rate, by the end of this project, what I think happened is he wasn't making a whole lot of money because he was driving back and forth from Fort Myers to Naples Park, where the job was. Yeah. And he started cutting corners, just went too quick on it. Maybe didn't think too hard about, what's the right way to do this? He didn't take the time, and probably wasn't going to be compensated for the time it would have taken to make sure that thing was done correctly, And so as a result, the cabinet hardware ended up being installed over the inlay piece of trim that they have inside the cabinets, which is what the photo I was showing you.
Yeah.
And so what we did is we ended up, because he was done showing up at that point, that was for the contractor, that was the last straw. It's like, dude, we've had some good things have happened, but there's been enough crap we've had to deal with as a result of, hiring you.
Yeah.
Like, you're not coming back to the job site. We hired somebody else. And sadly, my company who hired him is actually getting back charged for the work, And so, because the contract was from the contractor to me to him, so the contractor,
hires you.
He hired me to get the job done. We've had a problem. I hired him. So it's just going to travel its way down. I think it may be that I end up owing the company even after we take, if my contract with him was $1,500, $1,600.
Yeah.
It may be that our back charging is like, $1,900, and I can't pay the guy anymore for the work that he messed up. I mean, replacing those cabinets and the countertops, like the guy who came in to fix all of his work ended up billing probably about 40 hours worth of work. And this is our skilled handyman that can do pretty much anything. He's our finished handyman.
And is it essentially what you're billing at? So like, there's no margin there. So all that work, you're not making anything off of.
That's correct.
If anything, you might end up having to
typically
pay for
you would actually. We would typically be marking up the work that was completed by the second contractor. With my, I have a really good relationship with Volks Construction, and by extension, my contractor. We're not marking up any of the work that's hired the second time. So we're just won't make money on those 40 hours.
Yeah.
So
whereas if you had other sub coordinators they're working with builders, they may almost overcharge.
We're upcharging. We are
upcharging to the GC. They're going to make money from the GC to you, and they're going to make money from you to the next guy.
Well, yeah. So I guess the way you'd say that is we are marking up the back charge, I guess is what you call it.
Because we're marking up the front end. So in this case, like the GC, in your case, like he knows he's getting it pretty much at cost. Mm-hmm. You're not going to try to make money again on the other side of things.
Right. Yeah, essentially.
It makes a very lucrative business if you can get someone else, involved.
Jeff says that general contracting is like a license to steal. I don't really agree with that right now. I don't know why he said that. Probably because he's a broker and he's like,
a license to steal.
That's what he says. That's what general contracting is, he says. I don't know if I agree with that necessarily so far, and it's definitely not what I've seen from Volks Construction. I've had nothing but good things to say about working with Volks Construction.
Are you saying, is he meaning that like they charge too much?
Yeah, basically, I guess. Or they charge too much, or, there's some people that probably take advantage of subcontractors that maybe don't know what they're doing because they're licensed to hire anybody. If they've got this subcontractor that comes in that doesn't actually know what they're doing, doesn't know how to file a lien, doesn't know how to do this stuff, you've got a license and you've got a contract, you know what you're doing, but maybe your subs don't. Mm-hmm. Same with maybe your clients. If you're licensed, you know what your contract is like and your client doesn't.
Yeah.
I guess there are people that with a license do take advantage of clients and of subcontractors, but not in my experience. I don't think that's even the majority of.
Well, I mean that's certainly a variable of the building process that I've never considered to this day, of like having a good subs coordinator that can also maybe negotiate the best deals. Like, because the GC is trying to they're on more of a budget standpoint, right? Because if you go to, like, if I were to try to build a house right now, I may go to the bank and get a new construction loan. Right. We have to set up a certain budget, and you have to find a GC that's willing to do it.
Yeah.
So the GC is only going to start making money, or in general going to make money if he can build the thing within that budget.
Right. Which is where we're actually heading towards. So currently when I'm billing Volks Construction for subs and labor, which isn't, I'm not wearing the shirt right now, but when I'm billing Volks Construction for subs and labor, it's a time and materials contract. So essentially I bill for a markup over the hourly rate that we're charging. So what the direction we're planning to move this is to where we can actually start taking on some of these lump sum projects. But in order to do that, we also need data on, hey, how long does it actually take to build, to install 500 foot of silt fence, which we did the other day. Like, that's kind of a tough thing to estimate.
It is.
How long is it going to take? Because we don't know if there's rocks in there. We don't know if they're going to have to chip concrete.
Yes.
If you're selling these lump sum and then a problem comes up, if you haven't got a contingency or something in there.
Well, that's a lot of these newer contracts have at least escalation clauses in them,
Sure.
particularly for the materials aspect, because of just how flux those can be, right? Like buying trusses one day or this cost, or loads of dirt is another cost. Like, so in that case, are you trying to bid on even just particular jobs, or are you trying to bid on the whole construction on a budget standpoint?
Yeah, so we could theoretically, now with the experience that we've got with these guys that have been doing silt fences, they've been doing concrete work, they've been doing stucco work, we can lump sum these single line items that otherwise Ian would not have been, or Volks Construction would not have been prepared to sell. You know, they sell those custom remodels, but they're primarily a hiring and a billing business. That's basically what Volks Construction does. You know, they hire the subcontractors, they manage the funds, they protect the interests of the client. They have a fiduciary duty the same way a realtor has a fiduciary duty to the client. Yeah. They have a fiduciary with their client, and they manage that by collecting a certain number of bids, you know, those kind of things. So it would be...
does any GC actually do the work? Not in like a...
They shouldn't. I don't know why they should.
Yeah, I mean, so you're saying most GCs are always like, they're always going to have just a subcontractor.
Yeah, 100%. You know, a GC, a lot of times they're different licenses too. I mean, you're not going to have a GC typically that also has the plumbing license and the electric license. They hire the electrician with the license or the plumber with the license. But those are much different qualifications that you need to be a general contractor than you would need to be an electrician or a plumber or HVAC tech.
Yeah, so GC is your project manager. It is your funds coordinator. Like ultimately, like that's like. So you're saying the GC license is supposed to be more that fiduciary person.
Yeah.
A person like that hires the right people. I mean, they have to also know some construction. Oversee.
Well, because they collect bids too, and it's not like you always go with the cheapest bid. I mean, even you in your own real estate business, you're not always hiring the cheapest person, which is, I think, something we're still talking about hiring right now. You're not always going to hire the cheapest person for the job. You're going to take other things into consideration. You know, do they have any kind of quality control? Do they show up on time? When can they start? You know, these are all considerations that go into the hiring process.
Yeah.
And the way the GC protects the client is by collecting those bids, getting a record of them, and then ultimately having the judgment, because there's a lot of things that the general layperson doesn't know with regards to, you know, what's a quality hire. You know,
so then I would gander from like a GC can be very vertically integrated. If they were trying to integrate, they would either get the license on themselves, or maybe hire someone full time that does have that license.
Yeah, definitely.
So in this case, you know, that bid, I mean, I don't know if they still need to get a bid at that point, but they would have their own company, you know, just do the work.
I think they do need to collect bids typically. You know,
Really?
I mean, from a vertical integration perspective, that's kind of how my business started with Volks Construction was, you know, now we have the opportunity to, you know, have a business within a business that sources these laborers. You know, it cuts down on the time that Volks has to put into managing, hiring, and firing, you know, general laborers. And I bet you're right. They probably could do the same thing with HVAC and plumbing, but
well, if you just start,
they've still got to show us the best deal.
Yeah, I guess the point is like bringing it in-house allows them to more so build themselves, get their own guys to do it. Right. Like even if they're maybe the person that has the license, or they hired someone that does in-house, like you could just have a GC company that could truly build it, you know, base to frame by themselves. Or
the last thing I'll say about that is that I think typically they're still going to need to show the client that, hey, this is the best person for the job. Here's 2 other quotes. You know, here's.
But if you're on a budget though, you wouldn't. I mean, as long as it's under budget.
Yeah, you would. You'll rarely get audited, you know, but a client could audit you probably. Like, hey, did you guys, you know, our contract was for 20%, 30% over the cost of, you know, the subcontracted work. You know, what's your invoice for the subcontracted work? Is it 20% you're charging me?
Yes, but in the case, what I'm saying is that if you have a budgeted job, right? So, like for example, or back to my example, is if a bank will only lend if there's a budget already established. Right. You know, we've parted out everything, and so like, in fact, you already kind of know the cost already. Right. Going into that, I don't know if they bid that out before they can give those numbers, but the point is like it's not a cost plus.
Yeah.
It's simply a
lump sum.
315, 350, whatever it ends up being the actual cost.
Yep.
And unfortunately, if the costs change from that, then that's the GC's making less money, or otherwise they need someone like you that's negotiating with the subs and make sure they get a better deal or what have you.
Right.
And I'm sure in that case they can make it on both ends because they're going to get 315 from the bank regardless. But if they can actually build it for 290, now they're making it, or I guess, how the numbers work, but they can even negotiate even after making some of those bids, I'm sure.
Yeah, just typically that if they're saving money for their client, I don't think usually there's not room in the contract for them to make up. I mean, they shouldn't be filling up if they bid on a job, say it's going to cost $50,000 or $100,000 or whatever to do it. They can do it for 80 or 90. They're not necessarily going to just tack on 10 grand for, that just goes to us for extra profit because that was your budget. It doesn't really work like that.
Yeah, I guess
maybe it would. Maybe it could if you wrote that in the contract, but I don't know what homeowner would say. If I do it for cheaper, the contractor gets to make more money. I don't know.
Yeah, but if you're working with the shell company, right, or not shell, or you're just building shells, right, and you contract with Lennar or some of these big builders, granted, they probably got you at bottom dollar as it is, but we're gonna agree to pay you $50,000 to do the frame, but if you can get it in 30, you're still gonna get the 50, right? But anyways, moving on to this, I will say. I'm a little bit jealous of your subs thing because
nice.
I enjoy just very short service businesses. We always joke our investment partner and I. It's like sometimes I just wish I just get a dump trailer, get paid by the week.
Right.
It feels like you're making a lot because every week you're getting this big sum of cash.
Yeah.
As opposed to the real estate business where it's at minimum 30 days. Honestly, it's longer. It's more long drawn out.
And then you got commission splits and you got...
Yeah, and granted, the lump sums are great. Or, when do you get paid? It's this is great.
Yeah.
But that took me
4 months, 3 months, or sometimes.
Dude. Yeah. Can I just get, can I get a couple $100?
I think you should keep growing property management. And then there's some vertical integration there. I mean, just keep growing your doors.
It can be a lot of headache, but if you can get it dialed in, dude, that's why that business, we talked about exit strategy. If there is a business to sell, that is one of them,
right?
Because it is more structured. It's less about the sales agent making the money and more about the company
and the accounts.
Maybe exactly. I mean, you run the numbers. I mean, let's say someone had a bigger company or even a mid-sized property management maybe has 700, let's just say 1,000 doors.
Right.
On average, they're making even $200. I'm just averaging.
A door.
Sometimes it's going to be less, but sometimes it's going to be more. I mean, you're talking at 1,000 doors, you're $200,000 a month.
Pretty awesome, dude.
That's
1,000 doors, you said?
So let's say
averaging
$180, which is kind of the low end. Depending, your market could be totally different because you charge anywhere from 7 to 12%. Again, just depends. Right at 1,000 doors, you're looking at about $200,000 a month. And in reality, you can probably be making more, you can be making less, and that's close to $2.25 million business.
How long do you think it take to add a new door? I mean, can you add a door a month?
I mean, absolutely. But the problem with the property management business is that you have to add the right doors, and that is the biggest lesson that I've found.
What are the right doors?
Yeah, I mean, it's just we completely restructured. I don't know if I told you this, by the way, but we started November of last year and just kind of self-managing plus a couple other properties. We got it to about 32 doors. And with a good caveat that about 19 of those was one client. And what I learned was that 19 took a considerable amount of our time because of the types of properties that they were and just they weren't good quality. So there was a lot more maintenance calls.
Right.
The type of client that it was just demanded an update on every property just about daily.
Wow.
Right. Or at least weekly, what are we doing with all these various things? So it's a lot that's going out. And at the end of the day, you're charging, it was a lower rental area, you're charging a percentage. So it's I was literally pretty much breaking even on that account.
Wow. On 19 doors.
On 19 doors. Because part of it was we had some vacancies and I was hiring someone, and that person was having to manage all the maintenance requests, which were higher because the properties weren't taken care of, and they have to continue to follow up with this lady because she's all these emails. You get the point. So going into it now, like you have to be more of the buyer or the seller, or which one of the ways. But the point is, you have to be more selective when you get with an owner.
Gotcha.
And I'm your asset manager, right? Like you're hiring me and trusting me. If there is not a level of trust that you place in me for this property, then we're not a good fit.
Right.
Because I'm okay giving updates and here's what's happened, or I can explain a decision. I'm not going to go rogue, but I need a $500 expenditure each month, for example, if in case of emergencies, right? Like I get an authorization to spend upwards of that much because
Sure.
I'm not just going to spend.
And is that escrowed?
It depends. Like typically, yes, we'd have a $500 reserve.
Okay. Per property.
Per door, per door. And in which case, that's almost like our authorization. And that just helps because you send an AC guy and there's $200, right? Or
Sure.
assuming it's just a simple thing, right? Or you have your water goes out, or
disposal, or
so many different things can happen. And the maintenance is a loss leader, right? In case you didn't know that, like you don't make money on the maintenance side of things,
right?
So if you have to kind of reduce down that aspect, and so if you can kind of be able to quickly act on it, quickly send out your approved vendors in order to take care of it, the better.
Sure.
You can kind of move on to the next thing.
Nice, dude. So I'm seeing there's a lot of crossover. I mean, we don't have to get into the nitty-gritty on how subs and labor can help you out with your property management, but I can definitely see that. We're pretty much like 24-hour notice for the most part with most of our, at least our general labor. You know
what I am looking for? Get your thoughts. So with that account, we typically would receive from the tenant, here's an issue, and we'd kind of take that at face value. Okay, this is an issue. You told me it was HVAC, let me go send a guy, or you told me it was well, let me send a guy. And most of the time that works out. We're tending to find it would be really nice. This is why property managers have handymen on staff.
Sure.
But you need one fairly priced handy person that can diagnose the problem.
Yeah.
And then send the appropriate person.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Because let's say I could, maybe it was $50 to send them out, and I can charge the client $50 because I just cleared a drain line.
Yeah.
All right, that saved the client $150 compared to the HVAC company.
Oh, the HVAC.
Or
yeah.
The handyman could probably diagnose and give you a firmer assessment, and perhaps even just fix the issue much cheaper than having to send out the company.
Sure.
I mean, if you had a solution for that, if you had a fairly priced, just general handyman.
I've got a guy. I mean, I wouldn't make money on it if it's $50 is all we can do for an hour, because the guy that I got that can do it, I mean, his price is $50 an hour.
Yeah.
So, but those people exist for sure. I mean, that would definitely.
It'd be interesting to find someone that was more on a trip basis, like a trip up to 2 hours or something like that, maybe. Right. And maybe even the hourly is fine if it's naturally going to be an hour long, or if it was $25 because it was a half hour. I don't know. I know part of it is too driving out to Cape Coral, driving out to Lehigh, driving out to these sites. Because the best case scenario is I would go out there, see what's going on and whatnot. But there's no chance.
You can't do that for $19 though.
Yeah, or to be honest, you talked about trying to get it to 50, trying to get to 100. Like those, yes, you can onboard every single month, but you got to also be kind of in the office.
You got to be getting more doors. Mm-hmm. That's where you're making the money. So yeah, it definitely doesn't make sense to have you go out on those service calls.
So what I did recently, I did actually, funny enough, I hired a PM right when I got those 19 doors, partly because I was just getting into Section
PM,
8.
what's a PM?
A property manager.
You hired a PM? I thought you are the property manager.
Meaning it'd be like a broker hiring a realtor.
Okay.
Right, I'm the head PM.
Yeah.
Right, I'm the property management company, but I'll hire a property manager.
Gotcha.
Just like that.
All right.
So I hired just an assistant. Is another way. I just don't like calling that. I hired an assistant to help with the business.
Right.
Right around when those doors came in.
Right.
And so eventually we ended up actually firing that client, by the way.
Oh, wow. The 19-door client.
Yeah. Because we weren't making any money, and it was just it was not. I don't say that lightly. I say it lightly now, but it would have drained their company. And ultimately, I told her too. We actually had to let go of a couple other clients just because we just wanted to kind of start at ground zero. I mean, we're a fresh company, so it's not the end of the world, but we needed to kind of recalibrate, reassess, kind of how our operations were, so that we could otherwise more so structure for better growth.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
But it's been 6 months since I hired him.
Right.
And we did kind of an evaluation of what he's enjoying, what he's not enjoying. I've actually just recently kind of promoted him to like more like better run that ship and kind of act. So like this could be, you could be the manager of this division. Like I'll obviously set the vision, I'll set the operations, like I'll make sure everything's done correctly. Probably more so be the person communicating with the owners.
Right.
But at the end of the day, like the whole back end could be you.
Sure. So back end, he's gonna do invoicing and stuff now too?
Yeah, I mean he's vendor communication, tenant communication, setting up leases, coordinating showings. Actually, I have a separate bookkeeper, so I'll probably anything like financial wise, I'll probably still go through her. But he can run just about everything from just a general coordination assistant type thing. Like, and a lot of it is just very small tasks. Like you have it cleared and laid out, and that's what I'm still slowly piecing together. Like I started out in an app called Notion, and that's fine, but it can be a little complex. So I just ended up just going to Google Docs, and they have this new like Google document tabs feature now.
Yeah.
So I'll have like leases is the doc name, and I might have a couple of different docs. Here's how we create a lease. Here's the things that you need to verify when you're creating a lease, because we use a law office, for example.
Sure.
Here's the vendors. Here's the kind of vendors we do. Like everything, dude. You had to list it all out. I mean, and I know that's needed. I mean, every business. You're giving me this look like you want to do that for yourself.
No. I am thinking about it a little bit though. I mean, I don't think I have the time to start up a property management company, but I just definitely see there's a lot of crossover.
Systems and processes, not property. Like because you talked about like the handle thing. Yeah. Like, would you write that out next time?
The handle. Like
the guy to your contractors. Would you write out an SOP? Say this is how we install?
No, honestly, that was inexcusable for a cabinet installer to put the hardware over a piece of trim. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I mean, I'd be happy to say that because it would save us time and we could have been out of the project quicker. But
yeah,
like that just comes down to our hiring process needs to be a little bit more stringent. We need to be more careful with who we hire, making sure that they've got. They're equipped for it, that they have enough experience to be doing that.
So you don't feel that you would put documents in place to keep up like how do you keep the consistency? How do you keep the quality consistent across your subcontractors?
Well, so I'm doing that. My wholesaling business hired those teenage guys I was talking about, right? To go out and put signs out, bandit signs out.
Yeah.
And I did write SOPs for them, so I put together, hey, don't put these in people's lawns. If you're gonna actually, so I gave him SOPs. I've got an SOP for driving for dollars and an SOP for bandit sign installation. So
Google Doc or like what? Just
just a little quick ChatGPT, Microsoft Word document.
Yeah, don't put it here. Don't put it there.
Yeah.
Do you pay them per sign?
I do.
Oh man, what if they're throwing them all away?
I told them to take photos of the signs. So I have
every single sign
about
has to
100.
take a photo.
Yeah, and again, quality is kind of a question. Like I did get some photos that are like you can kind of tell there's a sign in there, but it's like they're on the way. Oh, I forgot the sign. And they shoot a picture and they're like 2 blocks away already. So there's a few of those that are showing up, but it's also clearly there's a couple photos of houses that are right there in somebody's lawn. So there was a stop sign. Like, hey, this sign is not supposed to be in anybody's yard. It's right there in somebody's yard. So SOPs are still only as good as the person you hire. That's just to your point there. Like I could write it out, but a lot of these subcontractors, maybe they're a great tile installer or a great flooring installer or whatever. Yeah. But in terms of do they actually know how to, read their detailed instructions and actually put together a half decent invoice? That's doesn't.
Well, let's think inwardly, like we all like to do, right? Mm-hmm. As business owners, I mean, I say yes, it is partly the person reading it, and another part of the leader writing it.
Yeah, so I write out their invoice templates too. I said, hey, like so far you're just telling me you work this many hours. Like, here's a table that says this is the date, this is how many hours you worked, these are your expenses, this is what you did while you were there. Like now they've got that, they've got a billing period, they've got all this other stuff. So it's definitely going to save me a lot of time and back and forth. Like, well, what about? Because I recode it, but if they don't, sometimes it's like. If they're going to send me a bill, like, hey, it's payday, I need this much. I've got to make sure that it's accurate.
No, absolutely. Well, the point I mean is that it's, we act, we review and iterate, right? And then so ultimately, like, you want to put it in place for them to know what's going on. We want to take action and things.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's up to the leader to review, see are we doing or not, and then iterate towards maybe something a little bit better.
Yeah.
And so, for example, our like core values, for example, it's like you may establish that and put it on all your walls and on your paper, but if you don't put that into context, or if you don't continue to recite that on a daily, weekly basis, it's not going to stick. So, or in your case, like if you're not resurfacing the Google Doc or reaffirming, hey, this is our process for the bandit signs.
Sure.
I'll make sure to keep them accountable.
Well, you do need data too, and that's probably part of the reason why like they're not going to be fired over the fact that they put some signs in people's yards, is because like now I have an opportunity to say, guys, we've said this. You're not supposed to put the signs in people's yards. And I've sent him back before too. Like at one point I had these little ones I was putting on stop signs, and he didn't wrap them through the holes. So they ended up, I went there the next day to check on them, and they'd all just kind of like already shimmied their way down the stop sign. So they're these like 6x5 signs, and they're like sitting in the grass now that I was trying to get them off the grass. And I told the guy, dude, this doesn't make any sense. Like I give you 30 signs to go put out, and they're all, you didn't do one of them. None of them, not one of them is actually secured to the stop sign. And he went back and he did it, and he didn't charge me. Like I told him, hey, like I'll give you gas for this, but like if you want to keep working with me, you got to go fix this that you cut a corner on. You shouldn't have done that, which leads into, I guess, the last other point I wanted to make is that when you're doing this, even if you've got this SOP, it's not your responsibility 100% of the time to pay for somebody else's mistakes. Like if they actually want to make money, if they want to be, if he wants to be a finished carpenter and he's making those kind of mistakes on your cabinets, or if he wants to be my sign installer and he's making those kind of mistakes installing the signs, he's going to need to learn the correct way to do those things. And I'm giving him that opportunity. And I've lost plenty of money on things that I didn't know what I was doing, right? Warren Buffett says risk is, not knowing what you're doing, basically. I think that's the quote. And at any rate...
You butchered that quote.
Whatever. Jimmy Buffett said it. That's what it was. And so it's... the idea is that you're not the one that has to pay.
I don't know.
You're not the one that has to pay for all these mistakes, essentially. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, so another topic that's been coming up a lot recently, definitely in my business and with, with clients, with general contracting and so on, is procrastination. This can get in the way of product management. It can take, a 6-month project can turn into a year really easily if you don't have some of these things sorted out, if you don't have ways of avoiding procrastinating and taking action. What are your thoughts on how to avoid procrastinating or staying on task for a given item?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it's definitely more challenging now that we're kind of in the entertainment economy, or our minds are more suited to just get that
consuming.
Just consuming and enjoying and
instant gratification.
Yeah, it is difficult to instant gratification is difficult to hunker down. I used to be a teacher.
And, a teacher? I didn't actually know that.
Okay. Yeah, I used to teach high school, and I bring that up because these, hey, we got some due dates coming up, and I don't see anything that you turned in, and I always had these kids, a couple of them, and it's like every single time, like, all right, I'm gonna lock in. All right, I'm gonna lock in. I'm like, dude, you've been saying that all year, and you're not locking in. Like, I don't, you keep telling yourself that.
Yeah.
But so I think I had the quandary a little bit of this week, because when ingesting the knowledge of the business gods, but there's kind of 3 lines of thought that I have, and sort of 3 ways. They probably all work in tandem in order to counteract procrastination. I'm not going to say just the easy one first, but number 1, I think, is being clear on what exactly you need to do on any given day. So that's twofold. That's one, like, what am I time blocking, or what am I assigning towards this day? And sometimes that's consistent actions, such as making your follow-up calls or making your sales calls, or I always check my email like at the beginning of the day, end of the day, right? So sometimes it's being clear on how you're structuring the day. But a lot of it, so where I get this from, is the getting things done method, is being very clear on the tasks that you need to get done, right? Like, we need to record something, or you need to go put in, something at a house. Like we'll just put that on our list, like a very 2-word answer.
Right.
Right. But instead, how succinct and how detailed can we get on that exact thing?
Right.
So when we do get in front of our laptop or in front of our list, we're not like having to think about the decisions that need to be made.
Sure.
Or we could even just take a couple actions towards that, almost thinking it every to do with a project.
Right.
And what are the smaller steps to get there?
Right.
It's kind of reframing. So that's one of them. In order to avoid procrastination, it's getting a little more clear on that thing. So how many of those small little items can you be? Kind of be like a little checklister. The second thing is when we're procrastinating, maybe self-identifying and saying, is this something that I just don't enjoy
right.
in and of itself? And as business owners, we have to be thinking about how we're leveraging our time.
Yeah.
And so this belief a little bit in a book that I read recently called Who Not How. Amazing. I'm diving into a new one called Buy Back Your Time.
Huh.
Can you guess what I'm trying to work through right now, right?
Yeah. Time management. It sounds like you're maybe feeling a little under the gun on some of these things.
Show me what you're reading. I can show you what you're having to work through right now.
But
what you're struggling through.
Interesting. I was thinking about that because I was like, man, I read so many different things that I doubt you'd be able to tell. But just by the fact that I said I'm reading so many things, that's my problem is in business too, is I'm just a little short on focus. So I think if I'm taking anything away from what your learning process here, I had that same problem happen the other day where I'm like, hey, I'm scheduling out these social media posts, but I really didn't know what I was actually trying to, schedule. And so it took me probably a day and a half to do.
To schedule posts?
Well, I have a lot of posts scheduled now, but I would say to come up with, hey, this is the process it's going to take to get all of these posts scheduled. Now I know, okay, well, I have 52 weeks in a year, 365 days. And if I want a post a day happening in these things, I've got a plan on, hey, this is how I'm going to get these posts written and then scheduled.
Okay. So you're trying to put a bit of an outline, a framework around that process of one a day.
What I didn't have was that framework before. I didn't really have my process down. It's like, okay, because I could take a basic, what's a word for this? Like a basic template, a post template essentially now. And I can say, all right, I'm making, I need 52 versions of this template. That's going to be one post a week. That's going to be in this template, and now I can sit down and I can say, okay, I'm making 52 of these, and then that's like a time that I can do. But it did take me about a day and a half to where production actually didn't really happen until the tail end of day and a half, that second day.
Yeah, it's always tough to get ourselves into very tunneled vision,
right,
and wanting to see that thing checked off,
right,
and that's where I need to get more clear on all the various steps, because I will just like, all right, this is a very broad project and I'm going to keep it in my head until it's done.
Right.
Whereas instead I could have just listed it out and piecemealed it. But I think when you tell me an hour and a half, I would immediately be thinking the second thing of like, who can I hire
to do
this?
Yeah. And that's a good question also though, because like I hired somebody to do my bookkeeping here for my subs and labor business, and I just had to do so much training. I know maybe if I'd kept them for a little bit longer, they would have eventually got through the learning curve and it would have been fine and saved a lot of time. But we spent an hour just going over our template, myself and my the general contractor and his team that I work with. And it's pretty much automated now. I mean, everything that I was going to be having her do is going into one line of a spreadsheet every day.
Did you let her go?
I did. Yeah.
So you don't have anybody doing your invoicing?
Not anymore.
So
I do it all. It's not. It doesn't take time. I'm saving time and I'm not spending money on it. So I'm spending less time on my invoicing and I'm not paying anybody to do them either.
Okay.
Basically, it's spitting out. I go, okay, this is the day that we did. We spent some time on making this, but I just fill in my daily. What happens? It spits it into the project planner, and then every month that's the invoice essentially. Yeah. That comes out of literally just me putting in, this is what I spent on expenses. Yeah. Here's the day work.
And now in this age, the who may not be a physical person anymore. It may just be an automation.
Right.
And so I think we can consider that to be part of the process nowadays of, And like I said, that was one of the things my coach was saying. It was like, she wants to hire more people. She knows she has a, and we should hire when there's a pain, right? And so some part of it, procrastination is a pain, or I'm not able to execute on the service, right? When there's a physical, it's not just like I don't want to work, let me hire, like, but if like I cannot physically do or time wise do all my responsibilities, then like definitely is more a situation to hire. But the point was, there's a lot you can automate nowadays, so does it really make sense to hire? Should I just spend a little more time maybe putting in some automation or some systems to be able to streamline that? And actually so yesterday I had already set up some automations already just for very basic things, like when I put a Google contact in my phone, it'll go to my CRM. And that was running for a little bit and then it broke. I built it on make.com, and then I was like trying to troubleshoot and I was just not getting anywhere. Like some of the things were causing errors in it. So my thing, I got done yesterday. I felt like I spent the good morning just trying to troubleshoot, a scenario, and I immediately was like, I need to find someone who can do this, because there's a quadrant. For example, do you like to do the invoicing?
I guess I'm learning to.
You're learning to like it.
Yeah, I mean, that's where the check comes in. And I like being accurate because I've underbilled on things before too. Like I noticed the other day I had a receipt for a $100 gas bill that didn't end up on an invoice somehow because of me hiring somebody else to like keep track of stuff. Whatever the disconnect was between me getting the receipt to the person and then it not getting into the invoice.
Yeah.
Like that was $100 that I could have, I could have bought.
But there's things that we like that maybe we're not good at. So like I do like creating scenarios, and I feel like I'm strategizing a little bit, but I'm not good at it.
I really like Excel. I do actually enjoy working on Excel.
Yeah.
So in some sense, I do enjoy doing it, but it's not, to your point, it's not like it pays me money to just operate Excel. What paid me money and what's going to result in a time save is the fact that we get to engineer this spreadsheet and invoice combination. So I definitely enjoy that.
Yeah. No, and you'll probably come back to that when things start running and gunning a little bit more. Maybe if it's a little bit slower, it's a little bit easier to do, or maybe you say like that's something I still enjoy and I still would like to do that, and I'm okay doing that. Like I want to make sure. I mean, invoices is how you get paid, like it's accurate. Yeah. But then you look towards the other areas, and so naturally, if you're procrastinating an item, if you're not doing it, which I don't get, you're going to procrastinate your invoicing. Could someone help be plugged into that so that you make sure it gets done consistently, such as a content manager, right, or social media manager that's going to mitigate your day and a half of investing.
Sure.
Already know how to do it, and then can execute on that properly and keep you accountable for like, hey, I need more content and things like that, in order to fill in here.
Yeah. And I mean, that just comes down to making it probably an SOP, which is what we've really been talking about today, is an SOP for social media, because if I didn't know what I was doing right there, hiring somebody at the beginning of my day and a half learning curve for how am I going to get this content, the creative and then the scheduling, I couldn't have hired somebody to do that really necessarily, not for anything it would have cost so much money, basically, is what I'm trying to say.
To do a content calendar?
Without knowing what you're paying for, it's always going to cost you more, is what I'm trying to say. It's like, this is not coming out succinctly by any means.
No, I'm gonna help you out here.
Okay.
You should maybe do the thing first.
Yeah.
Understand, to your point.
Right.
Okay, I know what this is.
Yeah.
What I'm looking for. Here's how much time it should take. All right, now I can bid or hire.
Right. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Yeah.
and I would agree. Like, so I took a little, sometimes we don't know. And so we just have to catch ourselves. We have to audit ourselves on when we're maybe spending too much time. And okay, do it a couple of times. I know what's involved here. I know what could go wrong here. I know how much time it's going to take. And so, for example, my immediate response yesterday after having that issue with Make, I was like, I have 5 automations that I want to set up, all more complex than this 2-tool scenario that I'm having issues on. So I merely got on Upwork, put a post, or actually didn't even put a post out. I just found a couple folks on there.
Right.
Started messaging, and I interviewed 2 people, and I've already have someone in place.
Yep.
So
easy these days.
He's gonna be $15 an hour, and and honestly, it's probably, he actually kind of likes to do it more on like a, each one I make, you kind of get paid, which I'll figure that out. But the point is, he's gonna set up all these automations. They're gonna be done right, and I can move on and we're focused on other things.
Nice.
You know, and
yeah.
I have a great story about this guy.
Okay.
I love the hustle, and it kind of reminds me of like you giving the work to your bandit sign guy.
Yeah.
Like you just kind of like because he's young and you want to give him.
Just wanted to do something.
Yeah. So like I get messaging him online, and it's like an older gentleman, and I was like, okay. But then I get on the Zoom meeting, and it's a video call, and it's like the 16-year-old kid.
Huh.
I'm like, what's going on? I don't
Right,
understand
right.
what's going on.
Yeah.
And he says, I didn't know this, but like Upwork doesn't allow anybody under 18 to work on their platform.
Oh, right.
And he's a 16-year-old kid that wants to make money.
Got it.
So I was like, all right, take
From where? Where's this guy from?
All right, I'm getting there.
Okay,
All right,
wow.
and he's from Ukraine, living in Spain, and I get to talking to him like, so why does your account say Spain? He's like, well, you know, obviously we have the war going on, and so right now I'm studying in Spain. So like, in order to, you know, fight off the war. So here's this kid, 16 years old.
Yeah.
His mom, dad, and sister have to stay in Ukraine because of the war.
Dang.
He's going to Spain, and what's his thought to do, rather than anything else? It's like, I'm going to start a business.
Right.
And I'm going to help other people make automations.
Yeah.
I was like, I could find, like, I was getting other people I interviewed was going to be cheaper, was going to be more experienced. Was like, dude, I don't know. Like, I just got to give you a shot. Like,
Sure, yeah.
like
Might as
mad
well,
props to like
Heck
all
yeah.
the adversity. Like your country's literally at war right now. And
Right.
you're like, it was just so, I'm
That's
very
awesome.
interested to see how it turns out. It was very interesting, not kind of getting that blind side, but man, he's going to.
Does he speak Spanish and Russian?
Ukrainian, English, and Spanish.
That's interesting, dude. I heard something the other day, and then we can probably wrap this up, but they say it's really difficult for adults to learn a second language. The one thing that actually has to do with like across all of these people that they sampled or whatever it was, the only ones that actually learned the language later in life, you know, as an adult, were people that actually got a partner that spoke the other language. And I was like, I thought I was a fluke, but I guess I speak Spanish right now because my partner speaks Spanish, you know, so.
Well, or if you were alone, you need to move to a Spanish
To another country. Yeah, if you move there, you know, you
Yeah.
immerse yourself. Yeah.
That's literally like the whole concept, like learning through immersion. Like there's a school down in Costa Rica my aunt did, and I would love to do at some point, but it's 5 weeks crash course. You're gonna be conversational by this,
Right.
Because you're gonna
You
go
can't
through
do
the
anything
books
else.
portion, and that's
Yeah.
all you can speak. And then
That's the way to do it, man.
in this case, she lives in Miami. She's exposed to a lot more in that
Spanish,
setting.
yeah,
But
sure.
yeah, I mean, if you go live in Spain, you're gonna fight or flight. You're gonna need to learn it a little bit, have some conversations about it. It's the best way to do it.
Nice. Well, dude, I would say that was a pretty good podcast.